Hello my friends, it's Courtney here from flynnknit. Today I want to share with you one way of catching your long floats when you're knitting stranded color work. And I know the concept of catching long floats can seem a little scary at first, but I'm going to walk you through this method that seems to be one of the easiest I've found for catching long floats. And the reason that we do want to do that is because sometimes we run into a series of stitches, usually like 6 or more. I know there's different rules of thumb for when you want to catch it, but here I have a series of 7 stitches, and that creates, if I have to pull this darker color across those stitches behind, it creates a float that can be caught by a finger or a ring. It can get snagged easily. So we want to pull that closer to our work by catching it. And so I'm going to show you one way to do that. Okay, so for this method, we are not going to be catching the floats in the same round in which they are created, okay? So instead, what we're going to be doing is just, when we come to a round that has a long float, we just create that long float and leave it as is. So in this instance, I have that long series of stitches, and I'm coming up to my next stitch, which needs to be the darker color. So I'm going to knit that, and I created a long float across the inside of those stitches on the inside of my work. And I just want to give it a little extra tug to have a little extra slack, okay? So I created the long float, and I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to continue my round. We're not catching it in this round, okay? So the reason we want to leave that little extra slack is because we're going to actually catch it in the next round, all right? So we want it to have enough slack to be able to be pulled up a little and not pull too tightly on those stitches it's attached to, okay? So again, you're just creating those long floats in the round you're working on, and you just leave them. We're not picking them up now. We'll pick them up in the next round. All right, my friends, so I just completed the round in which I created all of my long floats, and now I'm getting ready to catch all of them in this round. And you can see I've come to the point where I'm at that series of long 7 stitches again, and I have my long darker float carried along the inside that we created on the last round, okay? So what I want to do is pick it up this time when I get to about the middle of those stitches, okay? So when I'm working with 7 stitches, I know stitch number 4 is the middle, but you don't need to be that precise. You can just kind of eyeball it. I like picking it up in the middle or as close to the middle as possible because it seems to make the most sense. If you caught it, you know, on one side or the other, you're going to have a lot of slack then on either side. So middle seems to be the best spot for me. But again, it doesn't have to be, you know, super precise. It's just the way I think about doing it. So you'll start knitting your stitches according to your pattern. And I have a dark stitch here, so I'm going to knit that. And then I'm at that 4th stitch, that middle stitch. So here's where we're going to catch that long float, and it's super simple, my friends, all right? So all we're gonna do is use your left needle, and I also like to use my hands as well, but you're just going to reach down with your needle or your hands or both and get that stitch onto your left needle, okay? And now we're just gonna knit the next stitch on our left needle together with that long float that we just picked up. Knit it together, bam, done. Okay, so that is it. That's all there is to it. So instead of having that long float now, we've just caught it right here, and we're not gonna have that extra slack anymore. And so all you wanna do is continue through your work, and each time you get to roughly the middle of your next long float, you just pick it up with your left needle and knit it together with the next stitch on your left needle. And that's all there is to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this, found it helpful, found it easy, and I can't wait to share more with you next time. Thanks so much. Follow me on Instagram at flynnknit to see what I'm working on next.